Hello, this is Tyler coming to you from Estonia. How many of you people want to invest in stocks and cannot decide which ones to invest in or don't have a lot of money to invest in? This is where the index fund comes into play, and this could be a phenomenal opportunity for anyone that wants to get going. Okay, for this year 2020, there's 5 great index funds that you can look at, and they may be good options for someone or people here, and they're worth considering if this is an option that you're pursuing. Index funds are phenomenal, especially for people who aren't as familiar with investing and who aren't so sure on what's the best way to go. Essentially, there's asset managers or portfolio managers that are helping with the whole process and make this much easier. Okay, so there's 5 main ones I want to list today, and these are the Fidelity Index Fund, the Vanguard, the SPDR, iShares Core, and the Schwab Index Fund. Okay, so the first one is the Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund, and this is part of the Fidelity Corporation, of course, and this doesn't officially track the S&P 500. It technically follows the Fidelity U.S. Large Cap Index. In essentially, it's a licensing thing, and this actually keeps the cost down for investors. And the expense ratio here is just 0%, which is really good. That means that for every $10,000 invested, there's no fees paid, which is not found in many funds. Okay, so the second one is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and this is a fund that tracks the S&P 500 stocks. It has over 520 billion in assets as of December, and it's been around since 2010. Very credible. It has a expense ratio of 0.03%, which means for every $10,000 invested, it would cost $3 annually for each person. Okay, the third one is the SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust, and this is part of the SPDR Corporation, and this is the Straight Street Global Advisors. And this is actually one of the most well-known, and it goes back all the way to 1993, just 1 year after I was born. And it's been doing phenomenal for these many years. It has over 300 billion in assets, and it has an expense ratio of 0.09%, which means for every 10,000 invested, it would only cost $9. Okay, the fourth one is the iShares Core S&P 500 ETF, and this is sponsored by a well-known corporation known as BlackRock. They have over 200 billion in assets in this fund, and it is one of the largest ETFs, and it's been around since the year 2000. So this has a lot of credibility. Any of these older funds have good credibility. They're very trustworthy. They if they've been around this long, that factor goes up. This has an expense ratio of 0.04%, which means that for every $10,000 invested, it would only be $4 annually. And then the last one is the Charles Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund with nearly 43 billion in assets, which isn't as much as some of the other funds, but I would argue Charles Schwab is phenomenal. It's a great brokerage to use. They have many different options, and this mutual fund is just one of their many options. And this dates back to 1997, so they've been around for quite a long time. They know what they're doing, and they've been able to bring on more and more investors. They only have an expense ratio of 0.02%, which means for every $10,000 invested, it would only be $2 annually. Now, this is kind of a breakdown of the S&P options, and it's really best for people to look at what works for them. Great thing about these index funds is they diversify and there's low risk. A good S&P index can generate about 10%, maybe 15% per year, which is really good for the fact that there's not a whole lot of risk there. And this also has that exponential growth factor, and it's just a good all-around option for younger or older investors. I hope you like this video, and thank you.